From R.D. Smothers Wealth Management, this is The Retirement.
When you retire, if you want an exciting life, you need a boring investment strategy.
Matters.
If you enter into retirement without a plan for income, you're not retired, you're simply unemployed.
Podcast.
Hey, this is your host, Dale Smothers, and you're listening to the Retirement Matters Podcast. My hope is that you will find the information you need in every single show on how to do one of the three things: either saving more money more efficiently, planning better for your future where you can live in retirement worry-free, or my favorite, how you can live a happy and fulfilled life in this life you have been given. We know that your time is valuable, and we appreciate you spending it listening to this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast. On this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast, we go into questions from listeners, and we uncover a few things that we've been discussing recently. If you've been listening to this podcast in chronological order, you will hear about the Social Security Act that has recently passed. We go into a little bit more detail on that in this particular show. And we also uncover some things that many retirees have in their retirement years. They have questions about taxes and Social Security and health care and what to do with long-term care and what is my next step? What is this year going to look like in the retirement account? All of these things are briefly mentioned at least once in today's episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast. So without further ado, we're going to this week's episode titled, You've Got Questions, We've Got Answers. Enjoy the show. Good morning to you. I hope you are doing well and you are ready to start discussing all things retirement matters. We have one of my very favorite shows that we do in studio coming up for you in the next 30 minutes. We're doing a questions from listeners show where you have questions and we have answers. Now, if you've listened to the show before, you know that means we have a very special guest in studio with us this morning, here to read off some of your questions that you have that you've either written in or called in. Miss Whitney Eubank. How are you, Whitney?
Hey, Dale, I'm good. I'm excited this morning.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
Got a lot to unpack, and I'm really looking forward to this one. As always, this questions from listeners show really lets people see that there are other people going through very similar situations to what they're facing and how we can help. Maybe even shining some light on that
absolutely.
in a personal meeting where we sit down and talk about specifics, or at the very least, being able to point them in the right direction. You know, Whitney, this part of the show is called the positive focus, or the pause for positivity. We're going to pause here for just a minute and talk about something that's been on my mind lately. I know me and you, we go to the gym, we step in there, we'll see a lot of people from time to time, but it seems like around January, more and more people show up at the gym.
Yeah.
It seems like the treadmills are completely full, which I know you like to be on a treadmill from time to time.
I noticed that yesterday.
Yeah, what was it? It was hard to even find one a couple days ago.
It really was.
And there are,
but that's a good thing.
The gym we go to, there's several in this particular gym, but it seems like that's filled up now in January. And you're right, that is a very good thing. This is what we see most of the time with New Year's resolutions.
Yep.
One of the more famous New Year's resolution is to get in shape and to take care of yourself. And, you know, there's got to be some psychology around this whole New Year's resolution that for some reason, most of the time, doesn't actually come to fruition. I don't know what that is, but it seems like there is certainly some psychology around this notion that January the 1st.
Yeah, I would say, Dale, it could have to do with, if we think about not even just fitness or not just getting healthy, it has to do with it not becoming a habit.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, just as we go through our daily lives, like we typically think, oh, I'll get to that tomorrow. Or I'll wait till tomorrow to do that. Because in reality, why are we waiting until January 1st to get healthy or to get fit or to meet our goals or whatever it is that we want to do?
Yeah.
And I mean, I do it myself.
Why didn't we see all of these people on December the 15th?
Right. Why didn't I do that back in December and I could have been here now? Why is that we do that?
Yeah, always tomorrow.
I don't know. So now that you mentioned the gym, I just want to make sure that when I go into the gym that I talk to some of these ladies that are in there that maybe feel uncomfortable.
Sure.
At the time. So
I love it.
But
Red
it's
car
been
theory.
good.
Yeah, that's the red car theory. You're finding an opportunity to impact people in a positive way. And this particular pause for positivity is more just meant to encourage people who maybe have started this New Year's resolution, or those who maybe haven't theoretically declared anything specific in their New Year's resolution, to just try your best to be 1% better today than you were yesterday.
The goal is simple, right?
The goal is simple, and it's to just improving yourself in whatever area that may be. There's a book that we've all read as a team, The Atomic Habits.
And that's a good one. Miss Beth actually just finished that.
Atomic Habits is amazing. You
She
mentioned the
loved
word habits, and making something a habit makes it easier to do.
And I think it's small steps every day, right?
Small steps.
Yeah.
Small
That's
steps.
all you
And
gotta
it's redirecting the habits that we currently have. It's not that we have maybe bad habits. It's that we have habits of maybe doing nothing at all, or a habit of forgetting.
Sometimes
to
it's our
make a
mindset.
habit.
Like I said, we're just thinking of, well, I'll do that later. I'll do that next month.
Get
or
to it.
I'll start that.
Get around to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's carving out that time, just like family time, just like prayer time, just like Bible time, just like eating is a habit. You have to make time for it. Eating is something that I sometimes will struggle with from time to time. We'll be in appointments or we'll be working, and you look up and it's 2 or 3 o'clock. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't have lunch. This day has flown by. If you don't carve out time to make your dreams a reality, if you don't carve out time to dedicate time to those things, they will never come to fruition.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, and
I
so
love it.
I think the positive focus, which typically ends in a challenge, as you know, Whitney, the positive focus and the challenge this week is just make sure that you are carving out time and that you are establishing a habit, whatever it is, whether it's a New Year's resolution or it's just something that you want to dedicate some time to, or something you want to get a little bit better at. Make it a habit. And I would encourage everyone, now you're not going to get this book read this week, but I would encourage you to pick up the book Atomic Habits. If you really have something that you would like to do or quit doing, this Atomic Habits book is a different mindset around it all. It's a different perspective. And for that, Whitney, we're going to get into some questions here. But I'll tell you, everything that we're about to discuss, it requires you to carve out some time. If you're not careful, retirement is one of those things that people put off to, I'll get around to that. I'll get to that next time.
And maybe some psychology around that too, because I'm thinking maybe that's because it's in the back of our minds, it seems like it's a burden, when in reality, if we just make that phone call, like our team can take that lift off of you.
Yeah, you're right.
Forever.
If you find the right person, it can become so much easier. Yeah. I've told a story.
It's like, I don't want to deal with that right now, but really it's like,
you're
wait
right.
a minute, I think they can take that off of me.
I told a story once about my son, Andrew. He wanted to take the steps, and he said, Daddy, will you go with me? And he said, we'll do one step at a time. And it made me think, and this was a story from years ago. I think now he's 8 years old. He was probably 5, maybe 4 at the time. But it just takes that first step. Yeah. And if you have somebody holding your hand, you have somebody there with you, that one step becomes easier to take the next time and the next time and the next time. So you're right. It's not a burden if you find the right firm to work with. And of course, RDS Wealth, we're here to help you. Our entire team is here to make sure that you have the retirement that you desire. But whether it's our firm or another firm, do not put this off. And some of the things we're going to discuss today, I'm sure are going to spark some interest in your mind. And if it's something that you would like to discuss a little further with us, of course, give us a call, 270-600-PLAN. You'll hear that number several times throughout today's program. We're going to take a quick reset. We're coming back with more Retirement Matters right after a 30-second break.
It's 4th and 1 with 2 seconds left in the game. Less than 1 yard separates you from victory. You have the best running back in the league, but your coach calls a Hail Mary.
As silly as that sounds, we see a lot of retirement managers being far too aggressive with your investments when a more conservative play would be a better fit. You have questions, we have answers.
Contact R.D. Smothers Wealth Management, 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-7526.
All right, we are back with more Retirement Matters, and just like I promised, we're jumping into questions from listeners. We have the answers, you have the questions. If you are new to this show, maybe you've never heard this particular episode, we try to do this on a quarterly basis, Whitney, and I'm confident we have some good questions coming in. We've had a lot of you call in and a lot of people who have recently been hearing the show and asking some really good questions. So I'm excited to see what all you've pulled out here.
Yeah, so we actually had a lot of really good ones come in lately. So I chose the ones that I thought that, maybe were on topic as for what we had dealing with or going on at the moment. So this first question, I would say a lot of you have concern about. So I'm excited to read this one. It's from Jerry. He's 64 years old. He says, what is my retirement account going to look like in 2025 with Donald Trump coming into office? Should we be preparing for the worst or possibly a better outcome in our investments? I'm retiring early next year with a 401k and a pension.
Very good. Jerry, 64, retiring early next year. Early next year meaning 25. You think that was sent in this year?
No, I actually think that he's going to be retiring in 2026. So he's got the full 2025 year.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jerry, here is my take on how the market's going to do under Donald Trump's presidency. I have no idea. No. The reality is, I think that
maybe.
Maybe, right? The Republican presidency tends to be a little bit unpredictable, just to be real frank with you, with the market. Now, I'll tell you this. Donald Trump is a president who uses the market as a barometer for his success, or at least that's the track record that he has in his first administration. That is always a good thing for the stock market, which ultimately relates to your investment accounts, which you discussed. But I think you can find opportunity in any market. And the reality of investing is, and again, that's one piece of the puzzle here, Jerry. I know we are an investment firm. We can help you with investments. But when you think through a retirement plan, it's much more than just your investments. And so when you look for the opportunity in an investment portfolio, you have to also look for the potential that the market is lower. And if the market is lower for any given reason, your retirement, if set up correctly, should not be drastically impacted. If you have done the right things inside of the entire retirement account, if you have built the plan properly, then a down market or a bad market or even a catastrophic market should not mean detrimental results inside of your retirement. Said a different way, Jerry, it really doesn't matter what happens with Donald Trump's presidency and the stock market. If you want to establish the retirement you've always desired, you have to detach the success of the stock market from the success of your retirement account. You can live happy in a down market, and we can show you how to do that. However, if you want a specific answer to this question, there are sectors that will do well under a Republican presidency.
Can I ask you this, Dale?
Please, yes.
Kind of going off of the market, what is your opinion on the tax situation with Donald Trump? Because I know that you've mentioned a little bit about how that affects your income.
That's an amazing question. And
do you have an update with that at all?
Sure. So there's very good chance that the Donald Trump tax cut will be extended, meaning this 2026 deadline that we have all been racing against will likely be kicked down the road. Now, there's some things that have to go into motion, and they have to fall into place with, of course, Donald Trump can't pass anything in his seat, and that's the thing we got to realize. It has to go through Congress, but it's very likely that there will be a lot of pressure from the top to prolong these tax cuts. The Donald Trump tax cut that is currently in force right now that you're operating under, which makes a 22% tax bracket appear, a 24% tax bracket appear. Those things didn't used to exist. Now they do, which is a golden opportunity for people who have retirement accounts. And there may be an opportunity to maybe go ahead and do some tax planning now. And if you've waited too long, you might have a little bit more of an opportunity. We talked about at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Don't wait until tomorrow. Well, the good news is tomorrow might be pushed back just a little bit for you on the tax stand front. And specifically to Jerry's question, how will your account do if taxes are lower under a Donald Trump tax presidency? I think that lower taxes is good for everybody.
Right.
When you pull money out in 2026,
We know
Jerry,
taxes are always going up, so I
you've
think it's a good
retired
thing.
in 2026. Let's say you're probably going to retire at a lower tax bracket than you may ever be in your life. And so taking advantage of that lower tax bracket is quintessential for you right now to be successful in retirement. Just like you said, I love that aspect. Donald Trump coming in could help the tax code, and that is, again, good for everybody. How will the stock market perform? I think you know our stance on this. 2025 is going to be very volatile because of what Donald Trump is coming in and doing right off the bat with tariffs and deportations. But you mark my words, if Donald Trump has his way with lower taxes, making America stronger, it's very likely that 26, 27, 28 is a good time to be in the market. And if you're concerned about any money that you have right now, there are ways to safeguard it until better opportunities present themselves.
Good deal.
We can show you how. 270-600-PLAN. Let's get to the next question.
All right, this one comes from Robert. He's 62. He says, I'm looking to retire in the next couple of years. I've been listening to the show and realized that I may need your team to help my wife and I. My question is, how can I make sure my assets are sent to my children and minimize taxes for them? Is this something your team handles as well?
Very good.
Good
Robert,
question.
how old? 60?
Yeah, he's 62.
62.
And he's looking to retire in the next couple of years.
Next couple of years. So
Yep.
62, retiring in the next couple of years. Something else that we were just talking to at 64 years old. The gentleman right before that, Jerry
Yeah.
was retiring at 64. Medicare is approaching, so be sure that you have those marked out and all the plans for Medicare and how you're going to get your health insurance. Again, our team can assist you with that in making sure that taxes are taken care of for your beneficiaries. Again, we talk about this Roth conversion strategy that may be advantageous for you in your particular environment. This depends on how much income you need, what other sources of income you have, what tax bracket you're currently in. So this particular question's kind of difficult to answer specifically, but I'll tell you there's some places you should be looking, such as making sure that Roth conversions are taken advantage of if it's possible for you, making sure that your money is in tax advantaged type of investments. If you have money outside of, let's say, an IRA, or making sure that you've got transfer on death associations with your joint accounts to where they pass outside of probate. All of these things will help assist your beneficiaries in receiving that money as tax efficiently.
I think, Dale, what he's
possible.
asking too is that something that our team can handle for them?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, no doubt. This is where RDS Wealth comes in.
For all of their accounts, I guess.
Making sure that all of the accounts are talking to one another, that I say this a lot, and sometimes it's hard because we talk in somewhat of a hyperbole message sometimes where we say, oh, we'll get you from where you are to where you want to be. This is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Tell me where you want to be. What do you want your money to do while you're living? And what do you want your money to do when you pass away? If I know those two things, we can build a roadmap for you to do those things as efficiently as possible. If this particular individual is looking for this money to be as big as it can be to the beneficiaries that he loves or the organizations that he cares about, we can help him do it. 270-600-PLAN is the number to call to get that conversation started.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a quick break. We're going to reset. We're going to come back with a few more questions. Whitney, we are about 18 or 19 minutes into our show. We've got about 10 more minutes to knock out as many questions as we can.
Okay, we have two more that I really want to...
Two more we got to get to. All right, let me take a quick break here, and we'll be back with more Retirement Matters right after this.
You're listening to the Retirement Matters Show with Dale Smothers. Dale is the founder and president of R.D. Smothers Wealth Management. We specialize in building retirement plans that allow you to walk away from the worry of running out of money. If you'd like to chat with a member of our team, you can do so absolutely free by calling 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-PLAN. Visit us online at rdswealth.com and be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
All right, welcome back to the Retirement Matters Show. Again, I'm joined here with Miss Whitney Eubank on our team. The department that she heads up is marketing. She is a wizard when it comes to marketing and getting our message out there, but she has pulled together a list of some questions, common questions that are very timely. And if any of these questions are something that you are going through, something you're facing, be sure you get in touch with our team and we can show you the next steps to get to where you'd like to be with the resolution that you desire. I want to turn it over to you, Miss Whitney.
Yes, sir. Question. Our next question comes from Miss Marcia. Mm-hmm. She's 60 years old, and she says, I'm a teacher, and I heard you mention Social Security changes the other day on the radio. And I wanted to see if you would expand on that a little bit more. How would I know if something changes for me? Is this on my statement? Can RDS Wealth help us understand this if we made an appointment? So that's good. You actually just mentioned that, I think, last weekend. Well,
there's been a whole lot of changes coming down the pike with Social Security and Social Security.
Do you know if that bill actually passed?
It did. It actually passed on the 5th of January when it was signed into law by Joe Biden. And this particular legislation got rid of some very ugly pieces of the Social Security Administration for people like educators, teachers, for instance, Miss Marcia. Who I think I know who this is, and if it is, super sweet lady. So hello, and I'm glad you're listening. So let's answer this question with some details here. This particular bill, which is called the Social Security Fairness Act, got rid of a provision inside of the Social Security system that prohibited educators, teachers, who were receiving a pension from their place of employment, a public education. They could not also receive a Social Security check. They couldn't receive a check on their own working claim if they had perhaps working history outside of the school system, nor could they receive a check as a spouse of someone receiving Social Security. Now, the studies say that this could impact families by as much as $500 or $600 a month, but there are some families that will see a $1,000 or $1,500 increase because of this bill passing. What this does is it allows you as an educator to claim as a spouse of someone who is receiving Social Security. So let's just go through this and say that the wife is the teacher, Miss Marcia. You, as the teacher, have also received a pension and for that reason not able to claim a spousal benefit for Social Security. Well, if your husband is making, let's say, $3,000 a month, you could very easily claim as a spouse up to $1,500 additional dollars every month. And that's a game changer for a lot of people. There's also this GPO provision that was erased because of this bill, which allows a beneficiary of the Social Security to receive funds. And, getting into the details, it's very much in the weeds when we get into the details with an individual. But here's what I would say. How do you know? I think one of the pieces of the question was, how do I know if this has changed for me? If you were an educator who was told you could not claim Social Security in any capacity, you've been affected. You have been affected. Now, how do we start claiming that is typically the question. Dale, how do we start claiming that? My number one piece of advice right now, because we do not have a great deal of clarity around it just yet. It's brand new, and the U.S. government is a very large ship, and it takes a long time to turn this thing around. I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know exactly what the process is going to look like just yet, but as soon as we know, it'll be on this show, I promise you. I would go to the SSA.gov website, and I would begin looking for this. I mean, it's going to be all over the place, and it should be very simple even. Now, if you Google something, be sure you even call our team and run it by us. If there's something that you see, we can give a little bit of validity to it. I wouldn't really put any stamp of saying, yes, that's for sure the law of the land until I see it on the SSA.gov website.
That makes sense.
But I would certainly be checking your SSA.gov website. If you don't have one, make one. myssa.gov. You want to go into my Social Security. You want to go there and make your own account. If you've never done that before, do it. Get your son, get your daughter, get whoever it is to help you with the computer. Call our team. We can assist you. We can at least show you where to go to start checking for the news. And I would imagine that the Social Security office is bombarded right now with appointments. And so go ahead and get in line. Make appointments. Ask the people themselves. My dad used to say you heard it from the horse's mouth. I would certainly go to the Social Security administration and say, I believe I'm impacted by this. Now, if that is the case and you are in fact impacted by this, this law also passed a retroactive payment of up to 12 months. So that means we could see all of 2024 payment as well. So now you think about somebody, let's just make it easy math. It's $1,000 additional per month. That's a $12,000 shot in the arm that you've got coming in. And for people who are on a fixed budget, that's quite a bit of money. If this is something that is, going to drastically impact your retirement account or your retirement plan, you need to be sitting down with somebody.
Yeah, don't miss out on the opportunity.
Don't miss out on the opportunity. Now, can RDS Wealth help you claim that? Unfortunately, we can't help you claim it. We can certainly shine some light on it, and we can help you understand where to go. What I want to offer for RDS Wealth is that if you are a client of our firm, we've already worked through this with you. We're going to do this in our next meeting. Don't feel like you've got to call us to get in front of it. But at the same time, if you are not a client of our firm or you feel like you need to get in touch with us for any reason, we want to sit down with you and see how this impacts your plan. This could mean that you have to take less out of your retirement account, which means you can retire earlier perhaps, or maybe you can last longer in retirement. Or if you wanted to, you could even say, hey, all of this is icing and I get to spend a little bit more in my retirement years.
We can at least provide some clarity there.
We provide the clarity. That's where we're at. And I promise you, we will continue to update you as we hear things about this particular piece of the Social Security system. It would be really nice if they would provide that all in one fell swoop where they just come out and say, here are the rules. But I expect that to be an ongoing thing. And long story short, I know this is a very long answer to this question, but it impacts so many people. I would be in front of my advisor yesterday, and I would be talking about how this changes a retirement plan. And if you don't have an advisor, or maybe your advisor's not up to speed on Social Security and the whole 9 yards, again, it's more than just investments, give us a call. 270-600-PLAN, and we can shine some light on your situation.
All right. Our next question comes from Mark. He's 65. He says, I'm retiring this year and want to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row. If we partner with your firm in the future, can you lay out a brief overview of what our retirement years would look like? Example, like long-term care decisions, estate questions we may have, taxes, etc. I want to make sure my wife and I are hands off.
Hands off.
Really good question.
Yeah, so that's where we specialize. The people who just want to go live life, make sure everything is covered. We're going to start, Mark, with a discussion around how much income you need. It's the first thing we got to understand. How much income do you need? How much money have you saved? How do we make that income appear every single month, just like you were working? And how long can we expect it to last? Now, if we believe that it can last forever, fantastic. Let's retire. If we know that it's not, we'll make some adjustments along the way, because you've got to be aware of where you stand. Now, I'm going to assume that you've got enough money, you've saved the right amount, and we just got to make sure we don't lose that money in the stock market and that it works for you and it shows up every month just like you expect it to. From that, then we are going into the advanced planning side of things. Medicare is extremely important for you. You're about to lose your health insurance. We're going to transition you to Medicare. We're going to help you do that. We're going to shop for you A, B, the whole alphabet soup of Medicare. We're going to assist you in that planning. Long-term care is extremely important for you. We've got to know how we're going to pay for long-term care. There's going to come a day, Mark, where you forgot where the restroom was, or you just can't get there. You need assistance. This type of day is where expenses skyrocket. How do we pay for those things? We assist you with that part of the plan, making sure you're not paying unnecessary taxes as you go, holding out taxes from the money that we've got to take from your IRA, making sure you don't owe taxes at the end of the year. These things are where we come in. And again, just like one of our other questions, If there are goals that you have for your beneficiaries, we want to make sure they're taken care of. We're going to figure out exactly what that means for you, and we're going to make sure that you can accomplish the desires that you have for retirement and know that those are carried out whether you're here or not. That's our commitment to our clients. And Mark, if you'd like to sit down, give us a call. 270-600-PLAN. I think I got that one done pretty quickly.
I think so.
We're right on time here as we close the show. You hear that music? That means our director is cueing us out of here. We've got to get off the air. We appreciate you every week listening to us, and thank you so much for allowing us to bring this information to you. I hope that you found it educational and at times entertaining. At the same time, if you want a sit down with our team, it's as simple as calling our office, 270-600-PLAN. We can assist you in retirement and everything that goes into a retirement plan. It's where we specialize. 270-600-PLAN. Unless we talk again in person, I'll see you right back here on this same station at the same time. And until then, always remember, save money, plan well. What is it, Whitney?
And live happy in retirement.
Live happy in retirement. Have a wonderful rest of your week. God bless.
Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management and RD Smothers Wealth Management are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. RD Smothers Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by RD Smothers Wealth Management.